You are listening to the Critical Mass Radio Show, Orange County's business talk show, focused on exploring topics of interest to CEOs who are leading middle market companies. With your host, Richard Franzi.
I love that music. I never get tired of it, and we are going to have a great show today. My name is Rick Franzi. You're listening to Orange County's longest-running business talk show. And why, do you ask, are we going to have such a great show today, Rick Franzi? Because our guest, Dr. Nicole Anderson, who is the founder of Anderson Sport and Wellness, is here today to talk about her business. Dr. Anderson, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. I'm honored and excited to be here. Really appreciate it.
I've been looking forward to having you as a guest since we first got together and talked about having you on the show. So let's do your origin story first. What was your original motivation, or maybe the inspiration, to start Anderson Sport and Wellness, this current version of your practice?
For me, it really was because I had a disabling back injury, and I tried everything I knew as a therapist to help myself recover, and it wasn't working. I tried everything you've probably thought of for pain in your back, pain and numbness and tingling down the leg, weakness in the leg. And I was literally disabled for a year. It was awful. And in severe pain, 8 out of 10, all the time. Only way I could sleep was on severe, on really intense medication, the kind that you can get addicted to. And I would only take it at night so that I could sleep. And it was pain that was keeping me up. It was miserable. And I ended up, through trial and error, through never giving up, finding a specialist physical therapist who was able to solve my problem. And it was because my myofascial system, which is muscle and fascia, the way they work together, was really the key root issue to the problem. Yes, I had disc bulges. Yes, I had nerve root impingement, but ultimately it was getting my myofascial system healthy that turned the tide for me, got me well. Now I can surf, skateboard, run, hike, do whatever I want. And it was through that journey, which really took 5 years of suffering and figuring things out, that led me to become that type of therapist. So I can help people just like myself, the situation I was in. Now I can help those people. And the research shows that 30% of people who walk into the doors of a physical therapy clinic have myofascial syndrome that has not been recognized. And those people, they don't do well in a typical physical therapy setting because they need more time with a therapist than is really allowed with insurance. And they also need a specialist physical therapist, someone who has a great degree of training in how to handle these kinds of situations. So it's lots of courses, lots of time, lots of investment on the part of the therapist to become that kind of specialist. And because I was that person, and because it impacted me so intensely in my life, I had a passion to then help other people. So that's really, the impetus behind forming Anderson Sport and Wellness, getting this out to other people as well.
What a great origin story. I love it when we have entrepreneurs on the program who have had a personal need, found the solution, and are now scaling a business to help others with that need as well. So it sounds like the process you went through not only remedied the situation in the moment, but it has had a lasting impact for you and your wellness.
Absolutely. It's really, really great to not be afraid of injuring my back.
Yeah.
Because most people are really terrified that they are going to be disabled or have to have surgery or something like that with their back, especially if your back bothers you off and on, or you have an episode where it's really, really intense. And if you've been told you have disc bulges or herniations, if you've been told you have stenosis, pinched nerves, these kinds of things, it can be really scary. And honestly, I was afraid when I found out I had 3 bulge discs and torn ligaments and pinched nerves. It scared me because I kind of knew what the prognosis could be because I was in the industry. But now I'm not afraid because I know that there's things that can be done with high-end technology that is being used by the NFL and other types of professional athletes in every realm. We're using that here with really advanced skills on the part of the therapist, and with advanced knowledge in types of exercises that you're not going to find at other types of clinics.
So you launched Anderson Sport Wellness with great enthusiasm and conviction. How long did it take before you truly believed that this business was going to thrive and kind of scale and be the platform that you could build upon?
So really, the passion to start a company began 11 years ago, and I started it as a different company called Advanced Rehabilitation and Conditioning, and I just did a one-person operation for many, many years. Up until 4 years ago, I wasn't too sure if I wanted to try to scale. I thought small shop, small problems, right? And it really was small shop, small problems. It was great. I had a really, it took a while because I started from absolutely nothing. I left a good job to start this business and I had no clients. And so I just started with just word of mouth and learning how to do some marketing and learning so many things the hard way. And eventually getting to the point where I thought, I think I can scale this thing. And I think I want to. I really want to be able to help more people than I can help by myself. And so 4 years ago, decided to scale and brought on additional staff. And it was much harder than I thought it was going to be. I thought I had a roadmap and a blueprint, which I did. I had signed up with a business coach and I was a part of a community of other physical therapy clinic owners and chiropractors and medical doctors who own clinics. So I got a lot of advice and that did definitely make a difference for me as far as keeping it from being as severe a learning curve as it could have been, but it was still a learning curve. And if you're an entrepreneur, you probably can relate to this, that I didn't always believe the advice of my coach. So I would take it with a grain of salt. And then I would sometimes learn that he was right the hard way. But it's at least good to have that advice to consider. And really when I knew that this was going to work was about 1 year after I formed Anderson Sport and Wellness Physical Therapy Corporation, which is the iteration that currently the company lives within. And it was about a year into it that we picked up steam because I had all the right people in the seats. And it was maybe a year and a half into it, I guess. It felt like I was getting out of it what I needed to get out of the business personally, which is I know a big deal for entrepreneurs as well. I really wanted to have a good work-life balance as well as bringing forth this vision to help more people in Orange County than I could help by myself. So that was happening for me when I had the right people in the seats. And I hold on to that vision when things get stormy and rocky, because that's kind of what happens, I think, in the life of an entrepreneur is you get one or two people that were really crucial leave. And then if it takes a while to find the right person, it can make things a little bit rough for a while. But
you've done an amazing job of explaining the challenge of scaling your business, because as a solopreneur, you have your own set of issues, but to really deliver the value, you need people. And therein is part of the challenge of scaling a business is the people.
Absolutely.
And many times you have to bring the people in before you have enough revenue to kind of cover their costs.
It's true. I had to do that so many times. And I would just calculate, all right, how much does bringing this person, if I bring in this person, how much could potentially bring in for the company? How long do I think it's going to take for me to train them so that they're up to speed? Do I have enough to cover the difference in between? And it works out when it works out. And then really not be good if you get to the end of a 3-month training period and it's a no-go and you got to start over, and so that can put you in a tough spot. I've been in those spots for sure.
So you might have seen on the screen, Erin Anderson said, "You are inspiring." And I clearly know she's talking about you, Dr. Anderson. So thank you, Erin, for being a part of this program today. So let's talk a little bit more about Anderson Sport and Wellness. Describe the facility. Tell me about the clients that you help. You sort of touched on sort of your differentiation, but just remind us a bit about that. And if you wouldn't mind, help us to understand the business that you're building.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity just to let people know. I think there's probably other people out there as well, like myself, who are trying to solve difficult problems for people. that aren't currently being served, and there's very few opportunities for them to get their problems solved. And so we could talk about the business side of that. There's different strategies and things that I've learned about helping people in that kind of situation, and specifically ways that they need to be helped, and how they can be sort of brought into the fold, so to speak, so that they recognize we really can solve their problem. And especially with complex problems, there can be a learning curve for the client as to really realizing that this is the answer they've been looking for and they didn't know it. Mm-hmm. So, we really serve clients who, most of our clients have had physical therapy before. They have done chiropractic, they've done acupuncture, they've tried spinal decompression, you name it, they've tried it. Some of them have had surgery already. Many of them have been told you are going to need surgery or a spinal cord stimulator, which really is kind of a last resort type of situation. Surgery, spinal cord stimulators, those things, they don't have great long-term outcomes for people. So most of our clients are already discouraged as well, because they've tried so many things. They've been told before that this is going to work, and then it doesn't work, and they spent time and money, and time is money for many of our clients. So it's a double whammy, right? And so we help people who have really, we're specialists in the spine, but we help people with neck, shoulder, knee, hip, ankle, foot problems, wrist problems, hand problems as well. The technology that we use is really cutting edge. It's very futuristic, and it's exciting. With our technology, we can help fractures heal in half the time, in 3 weeks instead of 6. We can help ligaments heal on the same time frame. Everything heals in about half the time of usual, which is phenomenal. So we do help elite athletes, professional athletes, because for them, time really is money. Their body is their livelihood, and they're looking for the fastest possible resolution to what's going on with them. Also, we have flexibility that the therapist can spend an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours with a client. And sometimes that's what's necessary to get that turnaround. Sometimes we need a really long session, and that's just really not available at other physical therapy clinics. But it is here. So we're able to really solve problems, complex problems for people who really have nowhere else to go. And it's life-changing for them.
Living with chronic pain is debilitating.
Absolutely.
Especially if you've been an active person. I sense that you might have been an athlete. Maybe you still are. I don't mean to put you, but I mean, do you have a history of being an athlete? Is that sort of the genesis as well?
Yeah, absolutely. My early part of my career, I only worked with athletes, actually. That was my initial passion. Been an athlete all of my life. When I was 9 years old, I started running a mile every day and doing push-ups and pull-ups. I was very motivated.
Right.
And I played soccer growing up. I ended up playing soccer and track in high school. I did track and soccer in college as well, on an intercollegiate level, and absolutely love athletics. Most of our clients are actually former athletes, current athletes. I'm still an athlete. I surf 2 or 3 times a week. I do all kinds of sports, but surfing is really my favorite. So most of our clients are athletes, and I can really resonate with them because of my own life experiences, and my staff as well. They're all athletic, so it's sort of the same story.
Right, and I think that's valuable to have a caregiver, a doctor who can empathize with your situation is so valuable. I'm wondering also, as you're talking about your business, so the people have been through a lot they get to you, and you promise them finally a solution to their chronic pain. I know everything's different, so maybe this isn't even a fair question, Dr. Anderson, but how quickly do patients start to get a sense that relief is on its way?
For some patients, it's the very first day. Actually, I would say the majority of patients, it's the very first treatment, because the technology that we use is really groundbreaking, and it can break through pain very quickly for people. So I tell people, listen, your plan of care might include 24 visits, and today you feel amazing. and you're going to need to come for all 24 visits, because to keep this pain from coming back, there's going to be a process involved. And maybe it's 12 visits, maybe it's, 16, but whatever the case might be, really, I would say majority of people, they notice a breakthrough the very first visit, which makes it easy for them to then know they're on the right track.
And it has got to feel good as well for you professionally and personally to be able to make that impact that quickly on your clients, on your patients.
It's phenomenal. I mean, my whole career, I've been in search of becoming the kind of therapist who can make the most effective, most efficient, at a root level, solve problems for people as quickly as possible. So I feel like I see it every day. We're doing it now. And I'm excited about that.
And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, I was so excited at the top of the show to have Dr. Anderson on the program, because I think she's making a difference. I know she's making a difference in people's lives. And we like to feature that here on Critical Mass Business Talk Show. Let's change our focus. Let's put the lens on your industry. You're in sports and wellness, and you're a physical therapy corporation. Have you found keys to success that are kind of within your industry, not just what you've been able to develop based on technology, et cetera, but overall other successful sports and wellness companies that are delivering value? Have you seen common types of secrets to success in your space?
I would say absolutely. Probably the number one thing would be relentless follow-up. So if you have a client who's dropped off, if you have a new lead who's they're kind of swimming around, but they haven't really totally grabbed onto any of the hooks that you have hanging down. So those types of things, it's just continue to send them information that's helpful to them. So I have a whole system that I've learned through trial and error, and then also through learning from business coach, from other professionals in my field, that it's really important to have a system. So a lot of it's automated. So if somebody inquires, then, and you guys, many of you are probably familiar with these types of things, nurture funnels and these types of things. So I have, a client relationship management software that allows me to stay in touch with my clients through email, and just keep following up, keep delivering value, giving them little bites of information along their pain point, so that they just keep noticing, oh, wow, I'm getting good information here. Maybe I should come down and check it out. So that's a big one. And just not giving up on people, because many times it might take someone 6 months to a year from the first time they contact us before they become actually a physical therapy client. And I just know that that's the case, and it's fine. So,
yeah, there's there's an understanding in the marketing space that people need multiple touches before they'll change their behavior. I think the number currently is 8. And a lot of the research shows that many entrepreneurs stop after 4, because they just figure they don't even want to annoy the person, or the person's not interested. But for those like you who persevere, who make it easy to stay in touch with people while delivering value, ultimately that pays off. So congratulations for having a system for doing that and being disciplined about doing it.
Yeah. And, it's also, it's text messaging. I mentioned emails, but absolutely, it's text messaging the client, it's emails. It's even sending them something in the mail, something hard copy. One thing that I found really helpful is having a newsletter, because people do read those. We have them here in the clinic. They pick them up, they look at them, they take them home, they give them to friends. It sits around their house, and it's got information, helpful information for their health. And plus, if people aren't talking about you or thinking about you, they're forgetting about you. And so it's just keeping your company and the value that you offer to them in front of them as much as possible makes a really big difference. I think that's applicable to any industry, really.
That's great. Let's turn the lens back to you then, if I could.
Yeah.
In this role, building Anderson Sport and Wellness, have you ever, even though you now have employees and people that are working with you every day, as the leader and founder and owner of the business, have you ever felt alone or isolated, even amongst all those people when you're leading your firm and making decisions?
I would say, yeah, it can be lonely at times. I have a really great support system in close friends. My husband is a sounding board all the time, and he has a lot of wisdom. So I'm grateful for that. And sometimes you just need to process. I'm a verbal processor. I need to process that out. So he gets a lot of that. He gets jewels in his crown for that. He gets to heaven. So, but it's also, for me, one thing that's really helped the loneliness is I'm a part of 2 groups of business owners that I engage with on a weekly basis. And, that is a big deal. That really helps me to not feel alone. And, sometimes the loneliness comes with making big decisions, those kinds of things. When you have to make a hard decision, a big decision, ultimately it is up to you, but it can be helpful to bounce it off of people that have been there before. So yeah, it's crucial, I think, to find those people.
I'm so glad to hear you say that you're in multiple groups, because I completely agree with you. I believe in the power of collective intelligence. And if you get the right entrepreneurs, you can help you to think about a challenge in a different way. So let's look towards the future, Dr. Anderson. What's your vision for your practice in the future?
So, my original vision was to have multiple clinics, and I'm not so sure now that that's what I'm going to be aiming for. So it's kind of an interesting question that you ask. I definitely have always wanted to be able to teach the way that we do therapy here to other physical therapists, so that these techniques and this knowledge in its consolidated form, because I've spent thousands of dollars, thousands of hours becoming an expert in many different modalities. And that's part of why we're so effective. And I would like to be able to kind of consolidate things for people. I've taught it to other staff members so that they can provide this kind of excellent care, but not necessarily have to put in all of the work that I did to figure out the system of how to integrate all of these things in an effective way. So that's one of the things I'd like to do is do some, maybe like an online learning academy for physical therapists, kind of a mentorship type of thing at some point in my career. And I've also my husband and I are working on another business with the technology side of things to create a better technology version of what we're already using now to create a better machine to deliver better value to people. So I have a few different ideas, probably not too dissimilar from other people listening to this podcast.
That's what I love about entrepreneurs. You're always looking to the future, and there's always a couple good ideas rolling around. So that's great. We'll have to have you back on the program to check your evolution over time if you're up for it.
I would love that. Yeah.
So if someone would like to connect with you, say on LinkedIn, or learn more about your practice, where would you ask them to go?
I would say the best place to go is our website, which is Anderson, swpt.com. That's really a hub where our blog lives, and other social media channels. You can bounce over to those from the website. So that's probably the simplest way to go. And you can also search for us on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. We have a lot of information on YouTube that is really relevant, helpful health information for people. So I want to encourage people to check that out as well.
I hope they will. I appreciate you being a guest on our show. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity. Take care.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. I knew it would be a great show, and I'd like to thank the audience. You've been participating in Orange County's longest running business talk show. Dr. Anderson's episode was episode number 1,420 something. We're really taking a look at that. I know we're 1,420, ladies and gentlemen. Woo. If you're an Orange County entrepreneur and would like to learn more or tell your story, maybe, why don't you reach out to me? I'm Rick, R-I-C, Franzi, F-R-A-N-Z-I, and you can find me on LinkedIn, or you can visit my website, which is the same thing, rickfranzi.com. And until the next time we have a chance to be together, I truly hope all of your business decisions will move your company in a positive direction.